Hello there, welcome to this latest video here on EverCoach, and today we are talking about something that I think is very important as a conversation to have for us as coaches, and it's also an important conversation between us and our clients, and that is, how do we coach ourselves out of anxiety? What are some tools and techniques and tricks that we can use so we can get outside of this anxiety loop that we seem to all live in all the time? And I'm saying this as somebody who struggled with anxiety in the past, and I still do struggle with it very often, very frequently. And one may think, Ajit, you seem like a really present guy. You seem like you have all the coaching tools. You seem like you have everything figured out. How come you are anxious? And that is why I think this video is so very important, is because I think all of us, in one way or another, get into this habit of being anxious because we reward ourselves with some things as we are feeling anxious. Let me share with you some research around how anxiety happens for us and also how it affected my life. And it continues to affect my life sometimes, and sometimes I'm able to coach myself out of it. I'm going to give you the tools and techniques that I've used for myself and for my clients to get them outside of the anxiety loop. So firstly, let's understand how anxiety happens. Anxiety happens pretty much like a habit loop happens. A habit loop is where there's a particular trigger that creates a behavior or the habit that you have, and that habit leads to, or behavior leads to, some kind of reward, and because of the reward, you continue to do that habit again and again and again. And anxiety is kind of like a habit loop. You get anxious because of something that happens, and you have the behavior, which is anxiety, and then you reward yourself with something. For example, it could be binge eating. It could be something like watching Netflix. It could be something like any addictive behavior or habit behavior that you may repeat because you're feeling anxious. My anxiety loop was actually giving me a reward that I thought was very, very good for me. So for example, when we would have some kind of launch or promotion happening in one of my businesses, I would get really anxious, and I would be like, oh, and a launch is coming, and so I have to be like doing this and doing that, and that would get me really, really anxious. And it had a really good consequence on the surface, because as I would get anxious, what would I do? I would get highly productive. I'll get to work. I'll be like, all right, it's happening. Let's go to work. Let's go to town. Let's work 10 hours, 12 hours, 14 hours, because I don't want to feel anxious. I want to get the outcome that I want, which is a successful launch. And so every single time as we got into launches, I started working 8, 10 hours, and I was using anxiety as a way to get more productive. But here's the thing. Yes, on the surface, it seems like I was getting productive. But within myself, I could see I was eating more garbage food because I thought 10, 12 hours of work, you got to do that. I was drinking too much caffeine. I wasn't taking care of my health. I wasn't investing time in my relationships. Basically, everything else except the productivity of work was something that was taking a toll on my body or on my relationships. So while it may seem on the surface that anxiety was being helpful, it was actually being hurtful if you look at the whole scope of my life and ignore just one element that was working out for it. And that is true for all of us. Anxiety shows up sometimes as a positive behavior because it triggers us to do certain things, and so we feel like it's a good thing. But what we have to look at is, what is it doing to the other parts of our life to really holistically understand the impact of anxiety. Most of us experience anxiety in some way or another on a daily basis. Now, some of the anxiety patterns are okay to have. They're small, short, they don't really impact your life that much. But a lot of the anxiety patterns actually are becoming recurring themes and are becoming a big concern because it constantly takes toll on our body. Anxiety, like any other emotion, takes a toll on our body if not regulated. We're going to diagnose what anxiety is, how it's caused for you and for your coaching clients, and we're going to also work through strategies on how to get past those anxious behaviors for you as a life coach, as a business coach, as a health coach, and also to help your clients to get out of their own health concerns and their life concerns and business concerns and break the anxiety loop. The first step to help your coaching clients get over anxiety is to help them identify how and when do they get anxious. Bringing awareness towards what triggers anxiety is the key to working on that trigger, to working on why is it that we are getting more and more anxious, or how is it, or why is it that we are living constantly in a state of anxiety. So step one is to ask your client, what triggers anxiety? What is it that happens in or around your life where after that happens, you feel anxious? Is it when you load up Instagram? Is it when you compare yourself to a colleague? Is it when you look at yourself in the mirror? Is it when you attend a particular kind of event? what is that trigger event that causes anxiety to show up as a behavior? Once you've identified the trigger, the second step would be your behavior is anxiety, of course, but what is the reward for feeling anxious? You see, we build habits for ourselves that create particular rewards. Our mind thinks this is a good thing that's happening, let's do more of this. Let me give you some examples of anxious behaviors that may feel like really good for you, right? Or feel comfortable feel good for your brain and for your mind, right? For example, if you feel anxious and, like me, start feeling productive, you associate good outcomes to anxiety, and hence you invite more anxiety in your life and you hold it in your body because you're like, oh, every time I feel anxious, I can be more productive. It may be that as you get anxious, you take a tub of ice cream and you start watching something on Netflix or Hulu or whatever is the preferred network that you have. You may think it is a bad behavior, but what you're really doing is comforting your nervous system, and your nervous system and your brain goes, oh, that's comfortable. That's good. Let's have anxiety come in again because this is a reward. You may feel that when you are feeling anxious, you procrastinate. Guess what your body is thinking? Guess what your mind is thinking? Well, this is comfortable. We get to procrastinate. We get to slouch out on the couch, get comfortable, and just, scroll on the interwebs and get lost in different YouTube channels or different Instagram videos or whatever that is, right? And that is a reward. So ask yourself and ask your clients, your coaching clients, as to what is it that is the reward that happens as the behavior of anxiety kicks in. There is something that we do that makes us feel comfortable, makes us feel productive, makes us feel good. And that is why we keep the behavior of anxiety going. So ask yourself that question and ask your clients that question, because as you ask those questions to your coaching clients, to yourself as a coach, you will discover why you're keeping the behavior. That brings me to the third question that brings awareness towards what is happening in the anxiety loop. And that is, are there any past events that have informed these triggers? You see, the trigger that I talked about when there was a launch that is happening, I get anxious to get productive, was informed by my past programming of saying I need to be productive, I need to be present when the launch is happening, because if I'm not on the ball, it's going to bomb. It happened because of some launches that didn't work out in my life, in my early career, where if I wasn't present, the launch didn't work out. That was a past programming that, instead of creating a learning experience for me, created a behavior for me, right? Because the learning experience I should have taken from it is I can organize myself well ahead of advance, and so I will not have a negative experience during launch. Instead of that, it created a behavior of saying, get anxious, get productive, work 12-hour days, right? So you identify what are these past events so you can work through them. Now, all the first three questions are really there, so now you're informed about what triggers anxiety and what's the reward for anxiety. Right? Because once we understand the trigger and reward, now we can work through how to avoid the triggers or manage the triggers or expect anxiety when those triggers are happening, and also to reprogram that reward for a different kind of emotional experience. So now we have awareness towards the trigger and reward of anxiety. Now let's talk about how to break this anxiety loop, how to create a new behavior, a new emotion that is more exciting and relevant and powerful than the behavior for anxiety, right? So let's see how that would happen. The first step to that is the awareness, which we've already taken care of. When you answer the first three questions that we talked about in this video, you would have awareness towards your anxiety as to what is triggering it, what's the reward that I get every single time this gets triggered. If there is something that already has highlighted for you that you want to share in the comment section below that you've seen your clients respond to based on the triggers and based on the reward, I invite you to share that in the comment section below. It'll be amazing to kind of hear your journey as you're watching this video, right? So, firstly is awareness. Once you have the awareness, the second step to break the anxiety loop is the step that you always take when emotions run high. You see, when any emotion gets triggered in our life and in our body, we are owned by those emotions. Nothing wrong with that. Emotions are great signals of life. But when we respond from the emotions, we are giving an emotional response which often in the long term is not the right response to give. Now, I'm not saying always that is the case, but very often, especially when the emotion is not a positive one, like anxiety, your response is often counterproductive to your overall life. And so the first thing that you do when there's an overarching emotion that you often make wrong decisions in, like anger and anxiety, You want to calm down your nervous system and quiet your mind. So the first thing that you want to do is, once the awareness has come to, oh, I'm feeling anxious right now, is to give yourself time and space and opportunity to calm down. Now, how do you calm down? There are some very simple ways to do it. First is breathe. Take 10, 20 deep breaths, and hopefully within that time period, your anxiety would have calmed down and your rational self would have taken over. Secondly, is you can take a walk in the nature. As you walk in the nature, your nervous system calms down and your rational mind takes over, and that allows you to really manage and understand, oh, this is where I am in the anxiety loop and what is it that I need to do to check and balance that. Meditation is a great way to calm your nervous system down. Listening to hypnotic tracks is a great way to calm your nervous system down. Listening to quietening, calming music is a great way to calm your nervous system down. Creating movement in your body is a great way to shake out the emotion that you may be experiencing and to quiet your system down. So all of these different ways you can quiet your system down so you can come from a more rational place. So the moment awareness strikes and you're like, oh, I'm in an anxiety loop because this triggered this reward, I'm in an anxiety loop. Bring your attention towards, okay, I'm in an anxiety loop. How can I calm my nervous system down? Calm your nervous system down. As my nervous system is calming down, step 3 to break the anxiety loop and to work with your coaching client to help them and coach them through is to ask them, now that your nervous system is calmed down, what is the true reward that you really seek in this particular trigger, right? So for example, trigger is launch is happening, anxiety loop, high productivity. What is the reward that you truly want? Do you want high productivity working 10, 12, 14 hours days? Or you want that when a launch is happening, you're calm and composed and there is acceptance towards whatever the world is going to resonate with or not resonate with, it is okay. If that is the response that you want, well, that is the reward you're setting up for. And now you ask yourself the question, okay, what is the behavior that gets me that reward? For example, one of the things that I actually find that when I am in a launch mode, vibrationally, if I am high, if I am energetic, if I am accepting the world is, and I'm accepting that I've created a great product and people will appreciate it and would want to take me on if it is right for them at the right time, I want to be in that vibrational energy. I realize if I want to create that reward and that's the reward that I want, I actually find it more empowering that instead of working 14-hour days, I actually work less during a launch time and give myself more space to be in the vibration of the result that I want. I know it may sound a little metaphysical and more spiritual, but that's the energy I want to live in. That's the reward that I would like. I would like to know that the universe has my back, and I want to live in the energy of that whatever is the right decision for the client, they will make that decision based on the great effort that I've made in creating the product. I don't want to be anxious. I want to be in a state of joy. And so consciously, because that's the reward that I want, I asked myself, which is step number 4, I said, how can I be in that vibration? How can I be in the vibration of acceptance, of knowing that when I'm doing a launch, that the right person is going to show up for it, the right clients will sign up for it? How will I be in that vibration? And I said, well, that will be if my energy levels are high, if I'm feeling elated, if I am joyous. And those are the emotions that I want to feel for me to have this kind of reward. So if I want to be in that vibrational energy of acceptance and love and that right client is going to say yes, what is it that is the behavior I would like to have to maintain such energy levels? I said, well, when I am in launch, I will like to at least spend an hour a day because that uplifts my energy. I feel more elated. I feel uplifted. And so, yes, that's one thing I would like to do. I would like to dedicate at least an hour in the nature walk because I am in connection with the universe and I feel like I'm connected to my clients when I'm doing that. So I would love to do that. So let's schedule that in and say, okay, that's the behavior we want. I would like to work maybe 1 or 2 hours just to make sure if everything is okay or not. So I've given the energy that I need to for my team to feel supported. But at the same point in time, I would like my team to run the show. And so my behavior, based on the reward that I want, is completely different to what it would be if I would stay in the anxiety loop, right? So I'm identifying a new behavior I want to do so I can feel the reward, which is of calm and comfort and joy and elatedness and so forth while I am in a launch. So I don't want to be anxious. I don't want to be concerned. I want only the right people to sign up and so on and so forth, right? So ask yourself, ask your clients, hey, based on the reward that you want, what is the behavior that should happen? So you get the reward that you want based on the trigger that you're getting, right? So you're almost mapping a new habit loop for yourself. The previous habit loop was launch, anxiety, work a lot of hours, right? Now, that was my old pattern, my old habit loop. My new habit loop, launch, joy, acceptance, energy, work out, take a walk, work an hour, right? Now that I know, okay, this is my current loop, this is what I default to, right? Or this was what I defaulted to, and this is my new loop that I want to follow. Now, step 5 to it is to say, for 60 to 90 days, the moment my awareness comes to my trigger, I will consciously choose this habit loop. Even if my default is trying to take over, I will consciously go, uh-oh, I'm aware, I'm in launch mode. I need to consciously create space to take a walk, go work out, only work 1 to 2 hours, so I can feel the joy and connectedness to my clients, right? Because that's the reward I want, right? And because I follow this consciously and awareness-wise, I'm going to, hey, let me remind myself this is the loop I want to follow, right? And because I do it for 60 to 90 days, I have rewired my brain to now default myself into saying, oh, it's lunchtime. This is the time where we get to have all the fun. We work for a few hours, but mostly we are keeping our vibration levels high. So our clients are all excited to enroll with us, and the right partners are going to show up, and they're going to enroll if this is the right program for them. And so now I have a completely different habit loop. I don't get triggered anxiety in this scenario of launches because I do a lot of launches. I have a lot of programs that we have on EverCoach platform, and I have many businesses as well. So for me, it's important that I had this loop versus the loop that kept me in a constant state of anxiety. So you need to ask yourself, and you need to ask your coaching clients, you need to ask yourself as a coach as to what are the triggers and how can you bring awareness to these triggers so you can start creating new loops around them which are more fulfilling, more joyous, and more present for you, and more in alignment with who you truly are, so you can create these new patterns and new loops. Now know that there's nothing wrong with your old loops. That's just how you were unconsciously creating them, and that is a part of your life, and that is a learning experience you had. But as a coach, we know that you want to grow and evolve from that learning experience to a new learning experience, which is why I invite you to ask yourself how to break this anxiety loop that you have or may have in different areas of your life to create new habit loops that will help you live a more optimized, more aligned life with yourself. Which part of this video really resonated with you? Share with me in the comment section below. I'm sure you enjoyed this video, so don't forget to hit that like button and share it with someone that you feel is stuck in the anxiety loop as well. If you haven't yet subscribed to the YouTube channel, go ahead and hit that red subscribe button so you can subscribe to this channel and get a notification every single time we post a new wonderful video like this, which is a complete masterclass in a topic that you could use in building your coaching practice or helping your clients live a more optimized life. Thank you so much for watching. This is Ajit Navlakha, and you're watching this on EverCoach.